Welcome to the Kim Sunshine Show with your host, Kim Sunshine, your perpetual business owner who loves to talk to local business owners. And now, here's Kim.
Welcome to the Kim Sunshine Show. I hope everybody's having a great day. I am your perpetual business owner, and I love talking to people who are running small businesses and helping small businesses, just like Embers. She is awesome and is heading up the newest farmers market in Flagler County. Welcome to the show, Amber.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, you were one of our first clients when we started with Cornerstone, and you were very, very supportive and always here for all of our classes and all the things that we were doing. You held events at our location in Bunnell and always had a great turnout. So much kudos and respect to you, my lady.
Thank you, dear. Well, I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to launch our business here in Cornerstone because your vision literally aligned with what we are trying to achieve.
Maybe that's why God had us do everything so that we can work good with Amber. That's hey, you never know what that's where I'm at in my life. I'm so just submitted to God. Like, I don't get upset about anything, because if the only time you get upset about things is if you try to control them.
Correct.
And if you don't try to control things, there's no reason to get upset. And I just believe that God's in complete control. Yeah. And if what I'm doing helps her with her stepping stone, and that was all I was called to do, well, then I count it good and I count it all joy, because that's my heart.
Thank you, dear. Yes, and I feel that I've been following the same line of thought because, for a while I was trying to force certain things to happen professionally, but once I realized that it's better to let things happen organically and to just allow things to come to you, it's much more rewarding.
Exactly.
It's so much more rewarding.
Exactly. Well, the biggest thing is, as a business owner, I think, is just putting your best foot forward, doing the best that you possibly can do, and then as people see that you are doing your best and putting out a good product and consistent, and when you say you're going to do something, you do it, and when you say you're going to be somewhere, you're there. Yes. I think that speaks volumes.
Integrity is definitely number one in personal and in professional life. You have to follow through with what you're saying, or else your reputation and your own personal well-being is going to be affected.
Exactly.
People are always going to expect the best out of you, so why not give them just that?
Exactly. So I'm going to restart this because I don't like how low it is. Maybe we just tilt it down. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Okay. We actually have bodies. So some of you, yeah, we are right now because we're having fun with this. But if you are listening on the podcast, it was just showing our heads, and that's
hilarious.
You don't know what we went through before we got this thing all started and whatnot, but we overcome every obstacle and we will make it work.
And we do it with grace. We're laughing about it.
And joy, with grace and joy. Yes. So this farmers market, now I love farmers markets. As you know, I ran Victory Popcorn. Yes. I came to Palm Coast via the farmers market. The first time I ever spent any time in Palm Coast was running my Victory Popcorn booth at the European Village Farmers Market. And I was in Marineland, and they found me when I was running my booth in Marineland. So on Sunday mornings, and I fell in love with Palm Coast, and it's now where all of my roots are deeply grown, and this is where I'm at, and I love our community.
I cannot say enough how much I love Palm Coast. I personally have been associated with Palm Coast since 1992 when my grandfather retired down here through ITT. He was one of the people who received
ITT.
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
So where were you guys living when he worked for ITT?
I was from New Jersey, but he came directly from ITT in New York.
In New York.
Yep,
okay, so ITT, if you do not know and aren't familiar, ITT built all of Flagler County, all of Palm Coast, and ITT was the one that was the big investor that made everything that we see today with the canals. I mean, they had a great vision.
They did.
And they used to be, now this just tells you how far technology has come. They used to be the calling card people. So you would be able to get your calling card to call anywhere in the country. And back then, the cell phones were on your shoulder, and your cell phone would go into roaming as soon as you left your very small circle and vicinity.
Yes.
And now our cell phones work in other countries, and we're able to like WhatsApp, and we have voice over IP.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how much advancement in technology we've seen.
And a lot of people don't realize that Palm Coast was part of all of that. That's such a cool piece of history that I wish more people would know. Because,
Yep.
you know, in ITT, you know, through them, my grandfather helped build pieces for rocket ships for NASA.
How
and
cool
stuff
is
like
that?
He helped build the first components that went into the first home computers, and you know, like.
So if we want to know why is Amber one of the most positive people that we ever meet, sometimes we think it's because of some of her products, but I really think that it's because she has a lot of history here in
Yes.
America and especially in the Palm Coast area.
Mm-hmm.
And you have just been a huge asset to our community,
Oh, thank
and
you.
especially stepping into the role of running a farmer's market. So what was one of the most unexpected aspects of running a farmer's market that kind of came on your plate that you weren't expecting in the
Honestly,
early days?
The very first thing that happened that I honestly wasn't expecting was the rush of people wanting to participate in this, because to me, you know, the location is great. But
The
it
location
hasn't been.
is phenomenal. Are you kidding? Get right off the highway. I mean,
Right
you
off
could
the
even
highway.
have a billboard on 95. I mean, it is
were talking
literally
about that.
1 minute from the exit of 95 on
Yep.
100. If you head towards Flagler Beach, it's right there on the right-hand side.
It's right
Now,
there.
traditionally, farmers markets are only open for 1 day, 4 hours, and you are kind of turning that up on
I'm
its
turning
head.
it on its head for real, and I'm literally just answering the call of the community. I've, you know, as most people who are watching this probably know, I've been at European Village for over 2 years now,
Mm-hmm.
literally every Sunday as a vendor.
I love the European Village Farmers
And
Market.
that
It's
to me,
beautiful.
that's my home, and I'm still
Yep.
going to be there on Sundays, even though I have my own market now. Because to me, European Village, that's where I started. That's who helped me see my dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
And like now, Billy is now the organizer for that market. He is a phenomenal person, and we're actually partnering together to help develop a whole new vendors community in Palm Coast.
That's
but
awesome.
with my market,
We have a lot
why-
of vendors in Palm Coast.
We do.
We have a lot of people who
Oh
have
my
that
gosh.
initiative to start their own business. You know, one of the things that I found when I came to Palm Coast was just how welcoming everything was for new businesses. And I don't know if Kai with Office Divvy was the first one to open that door, but when he had his entrepreneur night, it was just such a wonderful thing. You know, the Chamber of Commerce was doing a lot of events, and there were additional people coming in with networking events and things like that. There was always something to do to help promote your business, and I just thought, wow, that is so amazing. And Palm Coast is really, really welcoming for small businesses, starter
are.
businesses. And that's where Cornerstone comes in, because we're here to help you if you're a brand new business just getting started. You know, we'll help you from the point of getting your LLC business, walking you through that process all the way up to, you know, your lead gen, managing your leads, and helping you to put systems together to manage your business.
And your lead generation system and your customer retention system, the management system, those two things, honestly, game changers for any small business owner. Because as you get, you know, more popular and more busy, you kind of lose track of your customers. You keep forgetting maybe you needed to circle back with somebody or,
Right.
you know, follow up with someone. It gets harder and harder the more popular you get. So a system like what Kim offers, absolutely necessary.
That's awesome. Yeah, so if
Absolutely
you have a business, you
necessary.
should come in and sit down and
Yes,
talk with
for
me.
sure.
And let's see what I can do to help you. And it doesn't matter if it's a business in the farmer's market, or you're brick and mortar, or you're even, you know, doing like catalog sales or
Yes,
something
yep.
out of a catalog with a company that's already been established. I love helping all different businesses, and I've worked in every sector.
Literally.
But
yeah.
I love hearing from you, because you're of that younger generation. Like, I grew up when you had to do a Yellow Pages ad, and if you had a Yellow Pages ad, you were the bomb. Well, now
Yeah.
you have to have good ad copy. You have to have a catching headline, and you've got to have systems
Everywhere.
in place to work with those customers. And it's just a whole different ballgame today.
It really is. And with our new market starting up, we're calling it an artisan and farmers market, because one of the things that I've learned from, you know, working all of these events locally for the past 2 years is that people actually listen to what these markets are being called, and that sets their intentions and thoughts as to what they're expecting to receive there. So the reason why I'm changing this and calling it an artisan and farmers market is because I've developed this market to actually help our artist community more
That's
so. I mean, I
beautiful.
want to help the farmers community too, but we do have several running markets that are great for produce and great for fruits and vegetables already. I don't want to step on their toes.
Right.
But what I do want to do is help elevate our artist community who do want to participate in these vendor events, but just don't have a voice yet.
It's amazing today. We see all this creativity coming out. And just as we're seeing creativity coming out of humans, they've got AI creating like things, and I promise you, there's nothing that beats what a human can do. But these AI things are like kind of scary. It's like, whoa, what's going on? But the interesting part of that is you know, I could imagine in the future, like 50 years, that was made by a human. Like that's going to be the big deal.
Like your hands did that? Oh my gosh!
You did that with your own hands.
That's hilarious. I never thought of that.
Well, it's true because there's so much effort, and I would say there's billions and billions of dollars of research and development being put into eliminating the human in anything. So make yourself valuable. And know what you are, know your worth, and follow your heart and follow your passion.
Exactly.
Because that's where I'm at. My passion is just helping small businesses. I love it. I get so excited when I see like when you first started that market. I was like, oh my gosh, go Amber, go! And whether you heard it or not, I'm sitting there cheering you on. Like I immediately picked up the phone. I'm like, Amber, I just want to call you and let you know I'm so excited for you. And if there's anything I can do to help you, I'm here. But I know that you're good at managing people. You're also very, very good at everything that you do. She's like me. Like when she does something, she does it with a spirit of excellence.
Yes.
And I'm just so
always
happy
with
to
the
see
spirit
that.
of helping others. I never, ever, ever do anything in the spirit of making money, making a good profit, or anything like that. Literally, like to me, I can't fall asleep at night unless I know I've done everything in my personal power to help whoever asked for my assistance.
So money is
That's
not
just
a
how I
bad
am.
thing, and charging money
No,
for your
it's
value
not.
and your worth is not a bad thing. However, if you are chasing money, and that and there's a big difference in that.
Huge difference.
People who are just chasing money and the only goals that they ever have is a financial goal and a money goal. You know, my most important thing is helping people. The money comes.
Exactly.
The money comes
Organically.
Exactly. Organically,
I
it's
love
not.
that.
Well, we're planting the seeds,
We are.
so I guess is that organic?
It
Like we're not
is.
putting anything
We're
on
not
it.
forcing anything to grow. We're not loading any of that stuff on top. No, we're just letting it happen or naturally. We're just going to allow those things.
I've seen some people in business that are just so money hungry that they just want to scratch and claw and hurt and pull down. And you know, someone who's powerful like Amber who comes in, you know, they're going to start filling your head with all this negative stuff to cause you not to bloom and blossom to your full potential. And one of the things, speaking of blooming and blossoming, I love this hair. I love the color. I think it's a good bloom for you.
I'm fully in spring now. We're approaching spring, so
I love it. Love that color. It's gorgeous. And you always have such a vibrant personality, and that is who you are in your spirit. But that always comes out in your outfits and your hair and in who you are.
And I'm vibrant, and you know, it took a while for me to honestly feel comfortable wearing what I feel inside, because you know, I know it's not a typical thing. People don't usually wear 1,000 different colors every different day.
Well, you know why? Because God made you wonderfully just the way you are.
Exactly. And it took me a while to not only accept that I am who I am and that's how I was made to be, but it took me a while to understand that the more that I exude my energy and my enjoyment just for literally being alive, if you guys knew all the stuff that I went through, I have plenty of reasons to literally be alive. It took me a while to digest all of that in a way that I can like show everybody. And now that I've gone through so many different trials, Kim, you know, like I've gone through so many different trials that I feel like I've been giving a second chance. And what I want to use my second chance for is to help everybody else. And literally, I get happy knowing that I'm doing that. So how can I not show this?
So
you know,
beautiful.
like how can I not?
So this is an interesting thing that I heard, because you know, sometimes when people start telling all the things that they've walked through in their life, they're like, "How are you so happy?" Like I stubbed my toe and was out for a week, you know. And I'm not discounting. If you've not had to walk through anything, God bless you.
Thank
That is
God.
my dream and my goal
seriously.
for my children. But for me and for you, like as we've gone through things in life and some of those things are hard and devastating and you have to get past them, and it gives you a different perspective on things. So a lot of times when you see people who are full of joy, I did read something say, oh, people who are smiling and happy all the time are really crying inside.
Yep.
No, that's not true. That's not true. The fact of the matter is those things that most people cry about, we don't even spend any time or any thought on that because we're grateful to be alive. We are grateful to be here, and we want to make an impact, and we want it to be an influence to people. And I totally see that in you. You're going to make me cry.
I almost did already. I'm trying not to, because to me, this is genuine. This is literally my dream becoming reality right now. I want to help people.
Well, you've been
and I want to help our artists. Sorry. No.
You've been called to great things, Amber. You have been called to great things, and you're walking in it.
Thank you.
And watch, she has some big poop-kicking shoes. If anything gets in her way, she's going over it or around it and keeping going forward. I think that's one of the things that indicates a person who's going to be successful, one that doesn't get, are we going to have challenges, whether it's in business or growing your life in any way or aspect, we're going to run into challenges. It's the person that does not that gets back up. It's not how many times were you knocked down. How many times did you get up?
Exactly.
Because if I get knocked down, it's okay. I don't want to say that, knock on wood. Okay, so if we get bumped around a little bit, we're still keeping our eye on the goal, still pushing forward, still pushing for the prize, and just working to be the best me that we can be.
Something important that people almost seem
I
to
wish
forget.
I had tissues here. I'm going to start having to put tissues in.
Something that a lot of people seem to forget about the part when you get back up after getting knocked down is, have you learned your lesson?
You're stronger.
What have you learned from it?
Yes.
There's always something to be learned from every obstacle that we face. So unless you take that time to digest and assess what has happened and why it has happened, it's going to happen again. So even though you may get knocked down and back up 100,000 times, who's to say that if you didn't stop at the second or third time, you could have avoided the rest
and
of
evaluate.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. So, that's like people who get into bad relationships and they pick the same person with a different name.
Yep.
And they're still in the same, if you look at all the principles. And that's one of the reasons why I love Proverbs. In the Bible, Proverbs is, to me, it's the principles of life and dealing with people. And it really, if you break it down, that's written old timey, and it's like talking about a lion. When's the last time you saw a lion? I mean, we see bobcats every now and then in Palm Coast, but we don't see lions here. So we're not going to stay home and not work because there's a lion outside. But the principle of that proverb is that person had an excuse not to work.
Yep.
And how many of those do we hear all the time? Yep. It's the principle of it. The lazy person does not eat. The man who says, I can't go out because there's a lion roaring to and fro. Well, yes, there's all kinds of things
always going to be a lion.
Roaring to and fro. But we used to say it was like the excuse in your pocket. Some people have that excuse for
just ready to go.
Ready to go. Yep. I'm not successful because my parents. I'm not successful because
it's too hard, or I didn't know how. Or,
right. But people like me and Amber, we don't have that. Like, we do not keep that excuse in our pocket. And if somebody tries to tell us it, we're like, we can overcome that.
I'll figure it out.
We'll get past that. That's not a problem. It's a situation. Situations are temporary. So
it's like challenge accepted. I actually welcome challenges, honestly, because that is how I've gotten to where I am now. I have so many different degrees. A lot of people don't know that I have.
Well, let's list off your degrees. Let's list them off.
So
here you go, Sean.
Rutgers.
Okay.
Rutgers in New Jersey.
Rutgers University.
So at Rutgers University, I have 2 bachelor's degrees. One in environmental policies, institutions, and behavior. That's one.
Yeah.
Then the other one is in developmental psychology. So my original goal was to go into the school system and be a psychiatrist for children. Went through trauma and all that kind of stuff. But after going through a little bit of schooling for that, I realized that it was not for me because I care too much. And I was
I was
putting too much.
The people who do that, they have to have a huge heart and a huge passion for what they do.
For real, yes.
That's
a lot in and of itself. So when I realized that was not my path to follow, I always loved nature and plants and all of that kind of stuff. So I went to Rutgers has an extension program through the Monmouth County Park System. So I went through that program. I became a master gardener for Monmouth County. And
master gardener.
Yes. So I know how to do anything related to plants.
So go ahead.
Then, so after that, I worked as a park ranger for 3 years. And
a park ranger?
Yes.
Did you get to ride a horse?
I actually did one
She
time.
rode a horse too and being a park
I tried
ranger.
for the
Like
mountain
these
rangers.
are goals. Like people are
tried
like,
for the
I want to ride a
mountain
horse and be a
rangers,
park
but
ranger.
I preferred the tractors more. So,
Yeah.
so I stuck with my tractors. But in snowplows, those were awesome. But,
Oh yeah, because you were up north.
I was up
well,
north.
we shovel
yeah.
sunshine here, so you'd be having a sand plow.
Well, we have to move that sand though when we have the hurricanes.
Yes,
come
we
through.
do.
So after all of that, my body started to give way and actually developed arthritis. I was working outside 365 days a year.
Right.
Your knees are not happy with that.
Right.
Especially as a gardener, that's what I was doing as my main role as a ranger. I was working all the greenhouses and all of that kind of stuff. So after all of that was said and done, I figured, oh no, I need to find a new career path. So I started an MBA at DeVry University.
Okay.
Started, didn't finish, because I ended up getting picked up as an associate professor there. So
Oh,
I
great.
actually taught English composition to ESL students.
Good for you.
And
That's
then,
awesome.
yep,
so this is what an entrepreneur at heart looks like.
You
Somebody
just jump around.
is pursuing their passions and they're not afraid
Yep.
to start something, and that's kind of like me,
No.
except I didn't take the college route. I went the business route. So, when I say I've started and run 22 different businesses in my lifetime, that blows people away.
Yeah.
But the thing is when
It's doable.
when you have, first of all, you're not afraid of anything, so there's no challenge that is going to be too big for you, and you see something, you're like, I think I'll enjoy that. I want to chase that dream, and you just go and chase it, and then and you did it with education.
I did it through
is there more
education.
college after this?
There is more college.
So now we're at 5 at DeVry.
So DeVry, I was teaching there, and I actually ended up becoming the president of the Toastmasters Association there as well.
Awesome.
And then I got
awesome.
pregnant.
Well, we can tell how good you are at speaking. So
Well,
I
thank
was a
you.
member of Toastmasters here
Yes, I
locally in
was.
Palm Coast.
Oh,
Yeah, I loved it,
I am
loved it.
thinking about getting back into it, guys. So
Well, there's a great group of
I
people
just
here
met
that
them
love
a few
it.
weeks ago, so I'm
Really?
excited. Yep.
Oh,
I
my
didn't
gosh.
even know they existed, honestly, until a few weeks ago. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
excellent.
try and bake that into my busy schedule.
Well,
now.
it changed too because they have a little bit of a different curriculum. So the curriculum before, like everybody knew it who had been in it for a long time, and now the curriculum has changed a little bit. And I'm not sure. Like I was there during the change, so I don't really know what it was like before.
So before
but
you had to do 10 different specific speeches.
Well, you're still
and then you
doing
had-
that. It's just
okay.
it's a little different how things are done. So I'm not sure what those
Cool.
differences
Oh, I
are,
have to
but
look
you'll
into
be excited about it. But I love Toastmasters because it's one of the things that helped me to speak without the ums and the uhs.
Yes,
Because
yes,
everybody was watching
yes.
and counting, and then they would
see them
correct you. And they weren't so concerned about the content. They were just concerned,
Yes.
did you give good eye content? It was the presentation elements, not the content, because your content will always change.
Yes.
But yeah, I
It was more
loved it.
so
I
about,
thought that was
like,
wonderful.
The linearity of what you were speaking, how you were speaking, and also the ums, ahs, and you knows. Every time you saw them write that little line down, I tell you, it gets in your head.
I didn't look at him.
You were just like, no.
So we had one guy in our class, Matt Moss, that was absolutely perfect. He never ummed and ahed. And as hard as I tried, I always did at least one.
At least one. Me too. I always get one.
It's because my brain goes so fast.
But so there it is. But so
there you
after-
were, Toastmasters.
So Toastmasters, the ride. I got pregnant with Dylan.
Yes.
So I worked literally up until maybe 3
So
weeks.
did you gain any weight? She's so tiny. Did you gain any
So,
weight with Dylan?
believe it
I'm
or
sure
not-
that this is a miracle story. Like I gained 12 pounds. Like
Believe it or not, no. So I actually
I'm walking
before
on it.
you see how I am now.
Yes.
I'm as big as like this.
Yes.
This was not my normal size at all ever. My normal weight was always between 165, 160-ish.
And you're like
So,
125 now, right?
Less than that now.
Less than
yeah,
125.
unfortunately.
Wow.
I'm not. I don't want to say it like it's a bad thing because I know a lot of people do struggle.
Well,
with weight, but to me, it's
you
like,
appear to
yeah.
be very healthy.
I am
so,
healthy now, but for a while I wasn't, and that's actually what led me down my current career path is my own health and my husband's health. But so when I was pregnant, I did gain 35 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I went up to, I think at that time I was at 140-ish, so I went up to 175. But I was still working every single day up until maybe 3 weeks
So
before.
that's still great, though.
Yeah, up until 3 weeks before. But then, obviously after you give birth and everything, the whole world changes. So,
Sure.
So now what do you do? So, but I was getting antsy because I've always worked. I've had a job every single day of my life since I turned 14.
To work.
Like,
You love to work like
I don't
me.
know
I
how
can
to
see
not
it.
work.
Yeah.
Like, that's just my nature. So after I had the baby routine set, I was like, okay, I can squeeze a couple hours in for work. What do I do? I have always been in love with technology, thanks to Grandpa. He gave me my first computer at 8.
Yeah, ITT. Oh, yeah. So
Yep.
what kind of computer was that?
It was a IBM.
IBM?
It was about this tall. It
Yep,
was huge.
yep.
But he told me I could do whatever I wanted to it, take it apart, put it together, but he's never going to buy me another one. So I had to know what I was doing before I took it
so
apart.
that was back in the day when
That
you
was
could
back
actually
in the-
upgrade your tower.
That was early.
And you could update.
Gosh.
Well,
Not even 2000. That was still 90s.
yeah, me and my ex-husband actually had a computer store where he would custom build the computers.
Yep.
And that's how it was. But you could upgrade all the components.
Literally everything.
And then at some point you would upgrade the tower.
Yep.
So then you would have like a whole new computer and
Yes, I
the
love that you know
motherboard.
that. Yes. I used to go to computer shows and buy the different the cooling systems. They had ones with bubbles in them and fish tanks. There was a fish tank one once. So that was genuinely my original background was technology. So with that, thinking about what can I do to generate
So how
money.
old were you when this I'm trying to peg your age. Like
I'm 38.
38.
So,
okay,
yeah.
so you
So I had
you're-
Dylan just before I turned 30.
So you were a teenager when he? How old were you? Were young when he gave you this computer
I was
in the late 90s?
9
or
old.
10.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was 9 or 10.
And that was when we had dial-up.
Oh,
Like that
AOL.
Wow.
That was great. You actually would learn how to time whatever else you were doing to those
For that
sounds.
connection,
Yep.
because it took a minute.
Yep.
It took a few
Like, I have
minutes.
3 minutes now. Okay.
Well, the
So-
funny thing is when my husband started his computer business. Now, here's me all before I met him. Like I had already started running businesses. I'm 28, so I had been 9 years of running different businesses and doing things. And he told me that was his passion. I'm like, well, let's make it happen.
do
And
it.
we went and made business cards right away and started, and eventually had our store, and it was awesome. But the funny part about that is, we met on AOL. Like the only person I ever met on online dating was not on a dating app. Like I've still yet to go on a date with an online dating app. But no, we met in my city. We would have AOL parties, so there would be 150 people that would come. And there'd be a DJ, there'd be a police officer at the door that would card everyone. It was $20 to go, and it was amazing. And then me and my husband and I met at one of these parties.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
No. Well,
was
it
too
wasn't
young.
everywhere.
I was
It
too
wasn't
young to know
everywhere.
it was
And
a
then
thing.
when we moved out to New Jersey,
hilarious.
we actually started hosting those parties, and we started running parties out there, and then decided that wasn't for us. But we wound up hooking up with a dating site. Now, dating apps are commonplace everywhere, but back then, in the
didn't
early
exist.
2000s, they
No.
were not. And we wound up hooking up with them, and it went real successful. So we kind of just passed the baton over to them because we decided we wanted to focus on our family instead of focusing on
awesome.
those parties. But yeah, it was super duper exciting. But that was just a whole
Cool.
interesting, different time
Yeah, it
of
really was.
life. It was just a whole different.
I started off by learning, mostly music has always been my passion. So the main thing that I used that computer for was to search for music online that I can download.
Oh, so you
I
had
was the kid
what was
who
the place
downloaded,
that we
like,
went to on the back end where
LimeWire.
and yes, there was
all
one-
of those things.
Yeah.
Pirates Bay.
It was like the dark web. Like
Yes.
you could get any software. You
Yep.
could get any
Movies eventually
crack
when they started
to
doing
anything,
movies.
like
Yep.
a crack codes
Yes,
to anything.
yep.
You could get anything you wanted
Anything.
on that. There was one, wasn't? Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. LimeWire. Okay.
Napster, all of those guys.
But there was another one too that was real popular, and maybe
There were so
it
many.
was LimeWire. I don't know.
LimeWire and Napster were the two main ones back then, but then Pirates Bay started when movies became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of them. I can't even remember half of them. Even Rutgers had their own secret one.
Right, everybody was sharing. It was file
Yes.
sharing. So there's a lot of
Yep.
differences. I mean, there's so many advancements in the technology. So I think that the young people today don't understand how amazing it was that we were even able to get music from our
Yes.
computer, because before you had to have a physical something, or you sat by the radio. So you were either creating
with your tape deck recording.
Oh, and we'd always miss the beginning of a song. So I don't know how those people are so good who know from the first note. Well, they must have had the full album, or they had the full CD. Where here we were trying to record it.
Oh, I missed the first chord. Darn.
But you know what? One of my friends, Dave Corp, so this is from my hometown, he would actually make these mixtapes, and he was a DJ, and he did amazing. And he bought a house down here, so super excited for him moving down here. But yeah, I remember he gave me one of the best mix CDs. It was a cassette. I'm aging myself, but it was a cassette back in those days, and absolutely loved it. Loved it. But it's so easy to get music today.
It is.
It's so easy to get the movies. Like there was a time you couldn't even get a movie. Like before VHS, you couldn't. You had to wait for it to come on HBO.
Yes, and even with that, good luck. Maybe a year later, you'll see it on HBO.
Right.
But,
Oh, yeah, because they went out to the movies first. And
then on to VHS, and then eventually
I'm talking about the time before VHS,
Oh,
so
gosh,
I'm
yeah,
a little older
yeah.
than you, but there was a time when you just couldn't get it.
Oh,
like
well, no.
We watched Wizard of Oz every year. There were 3 stations, and you just picked one. And there wasn't even really cable. HBO was the first introduction with cable, and I was a kid at the time. And Fraggle Rock was a big thing.
Yes.
We loved our Fraggle Rock.
Yep. So, after
Times
I
have
fell in
changed.
love with the computer because of that, it opened up my whole world of existence, because I can get music and I can talk to people from all over the world. So I literally fell in love with technology at the age of, I forgot if I was either 8 or 9 or 10. I was young. Wow. So when I started thinking about, well, what do you want to do now that you're a new mom and you have this much time to work? What do you want to do to still find joy? Technology. And where better to work for technology than Staples?
Oh, nice.
So I went to my local
Were
Staples
you in the
and
print
Vauxhall.
department?
No, so
Oh.
I actually went to the Staples and Vauxhall,
I love the
New
print
Jersey.
department. Okay.
I was going to go into the print department because I am artsy and all that, but because I'm super OCD about like office cleanliness and having all the things,
All the gadgets.
and the gizmos and the desk organizers and stuff. I was
Right.
always that person. So
Right.
me working in Staples is probably like somebody who loves perfume working at Bath and Body Works or something. Like,
Yeah.
it was a bad idea. My checks didn't make it home for a while, but they saw that I had a lot of product knowledge because I was their best customer.
Right.
So I had a lot of floor product knowledge, but I also had a lot of
awesome.
technology knowledge.
Yes.
So they took me off the floor and put me into Easy Tech, which is like the Geek Squad of Staples.
Geek Squad now. Yep.
Yeah. So I ended up running that department.
Good.
So,
I believe it.
yeah.
You have that natural leadership skill, and I'm
Yes,
sure that
it
you
was
run
awesome.
into it sometimes with people who, are not used to somebody having such an amount of confidence. And I run into it sometimes too, and I just pray for them.
And plus, also being a female in technology it's still kind of like oh wow, you know that kind of an unexpected.
Oh, it's
thing.
not like that.
You'd be
is
surprised.
it? Oh,
But as soon as
no.
I start talking
I
about,
think it's
how
more the
we're
blue
doing-
hair. They're like, oh, you have blue hair. You're in technology.
and you know that stuff. But so at Easy Tech, I would go through how we would go about repairing whatever their problem was
Right.
on their laptop or desktop, whatever it was. And I did such of a well job in that department that the Staples corporate division recognized that our store's numbers were increasing significantly.
Wow.
And they wanted to know who's responsible for this. So they essentially had me go and speak to, in a big conference of Staples people who were looking to go into the corporate side of things, coming out of retail, going to corporate.
Yep.
And they were kind of using me as look what
Beautiful.
you can do. You can do
Right.
it too, because at that time I had been offered a corporate position, an inside sales position, no longer in retail, just part of Staples. It was called Staples Business Advantage. back
Okay.
then.
Yep,
I think
yep.
it's Staples Connect now or something. They keep
Right.
changing their name.
Right.
But
Right.
whatever it was.
New branding.
Yeah, literally. But it always does have a good purpose. So they pretty much headhunted me from the store and said, we need you in corporate for technology specifically. So that is how I ended up in technology. I was doing business to business sales. So I would go into different government agencies, schools, you name it, whoever needed computers or anything that plugged into a wall.
Right.
I was the person who sold that
Good.
stuff.
Okay. That's
So,
awesome.
but then during that time, I was working out of Inglewood. That's where
The armpit of
I
New
would drive
York.
from Orange to Inglewood, over to Staten Island every day to do that.
Okay.
But
so that was only 3 hours in the car, like each
fine.
way.
But I didn't mind it because I got to meet a whole new kind of people.
Sure.
Like Staten Island people are awesome. They're like the most down to earth, like super. I love them. They were excited to have people out there to help get their business off the ground.
Good.
So once again, I did exceedingly well, performance-wise, numbers-wise. To the point
so now
where,
I feel bad for calling it the armpit. Like, I'm sorry, Staten Island people. I apologize.
They do have, like, the landfill is pretty much the island.
That's why.
So
that's why. There's a legitimate reason.
It's not like a stereotype.
It wasn't
thing.
like I was just trying to be mean.
It literally is a landfill.
It was created on a landfill,
but
right?
It's pretty, though.
It's recycling.
It's
on the water.
Exactly, yeah. You wouldn't even know it's a landfill, honestly.
Yeah, yes.
Just like Jersey. I mean, Jersey has the same reputation, too. You drive in New Jersey, you smell it. But, that's from the factories that are right on the side of the highway. Exactly. It's not that New Jersey stinks. No. It doesn't.
It's the snow that stinks. And I mean, I'm not talking about the smell. Like that frosty, it's like I did smell that here like once. I'm like,
yeah. So for us,
what
here
is that?
In our area, it's the sulfur that comes out of the water.
Oh, and we that call it, crazy?
Dylan actually calls it frog water.
I don't know why. Oh, I like that.
I don't know why.
That's so creative.
When he was maybe 3 years old, he, for whatever reason, said, "Mommy, it smells like frog water."
Frog water.
The sprinklers were
going.
So
he must have found frogs when the sprinklers were going.
He must have saw tadpoles in the swale or something.
You know, when we lived over in Plantation Bay, the sprinkler system is.
We love it, but then we don't.
It's the most beautiful. Like
yes.
I don't know if the smelly water causes the grass to be more green or not. Possible. But you just wanted to be inside when the sprinklers went off at 10 p.m. You did not want to be outside.
You actually start to time
the sprinklers. You had to time the sprinklers. Yeah,
that's hilarious that you knew that.
Well, I lived there. I lived it. So when we first moved down here to Florida, that's where we lived in Plantation Bay.
Yeah.
So Amber, you are absolutely amazing. So okay, so we were talking about your education.
So we left off at Staples, blah blah blah. So Staples actually helped me move to Florida.
Oh, really? They wanted to bring you here.
They brought me down here. So I ended up working for Staples corporate out of Orlando. And at the same time, and this is how I know God, the universe, and everything is with me and fully in alignment, because at literally the same time, my grandfather, he had already been diagnosed with dementia. But at this time, he was starting to, go out of the house, undress himself, and all that kind of stuff.
Fun.
And my aunt, she was his primary caregiver at the time. So when that started happening, she essentially had to stay in the home 24/7 just to keep an eye on Grandpa.
Right.
So when I learned that that's what was happening with Grandpa, I already started thinking about, like, oh my God, how can I help her? I need to help her. Because Grandpa gave me the computer and helped me with so many other different things throughout my life. Like, I felt like this was now my time to help him.
And they were here in Palm Coast.
They are here in Palm Coast.
Wow.
In the house that he built through IT&T.
Wow.
So I was already trying to reach out to the universe, like, please show me a way where I can help my aunt, help my grandfather, but still maintain employment, still maintain my family here in Jersey. I didn't know I was coming to Florida at that time.
So this is just a couple years ago.
This literally,
it's 2019 when you...
No, this was 2016.
Okay.
So 2015 is when this all started, but I came here in 2016. So I was just literally reaching out, like, please send me guidance, send me something to show me how I can help everybody right
now. So
what
happened?
So while we were down here visiting
in Palm Coast,
we were visiting Grandpa and my aunt, just on our regular summer vacation.
Right.
A house 3 doors down from their house went on the market. Literally literally within that week.
That week.
So we walked up the street and we said, "Oh, let's just walk inside and take a look.
Check it out." Sure.
And Dylan literally said, "I love it here, Mommy. This should be our house." Now, for me to hear that, I'm like,
okay.
I think that's a sign.
Because you were already adventurous.
I'm already looking.
You're already adventurous. Yep. Nothing's going to hold you back. So
for him to say that, and to me, like my house, the thing had pink carpeting. So to me, I was like, get me out of this, because it was Pepto-Bismol all over the place. But Dylan, in the way he said it wasn't even just the fact he said it. It was the way he said it. He sounds so genuine. Like he knew that this was his home. So to me, it was like, oh, okay, how do we make this work? So my father bless his heart, he helped me actually get that house in time.
Nice.
So, I asked my manager.
So now
at
you're
Staples,
3 doors down from
three
your
doors
grandpa.
down. I still to this day. Yep.
And so your grandpa's still doing fine,
Oh
and
no, he
everything's
passed
good?
away a few years ago,
I'm
but my
sorry to
aunt
hear
is
that.
still there.
So your aunt is still there.
So
That's
we're
good.
all still
And you have your family
linked in.
close by.
But so with that, I didn't have a job here. But now I almost pretty much had a house here because we already started the process. So now I'm like, okay, university,
what do I do?
How is this going to work? So I talked to my manager at Staples, and I told him, I would really like to relocate. Nothing against you guys, nothing against this office, but I just have a family issue that I really need to take care of.
Right.
So I don't even know how he did this, honestly, but he pulled whatever strings he could pull to get me an interview, not even a job. He just got me the interview, which in and of itself was like,
wow.
So he got me the interview for the Orlando office here, and they saw my history and my record of sales and everything.
Yeah, and they're like, we would love to have you.
Yeah, come on down.
Yeah, Amber's a superstar. I mean, everything that I have seen you do has been successful and with a spirit of success and a spirit of excellence. So I know that you guys are still kind of figuring out all the things that you're going to do, and it's kind of fun to watch. So
vision now we do, and then
I think the farmers market is right up your alley because you have been in the markets for a while and you understand how they run. I think you're going to be just one of the best out there. I think your location is fantastic, so that collaboration is really, really good.
And I truly hope that the community, really is behind me and helping. Literally, I'm doing this to help our artist community. If you guys have ever been to any of our current farmers markets and you walked around and saw maybe like Wowza Art, most people know Wowza Art.
Wowza Art is amazing.
Most people know
and
Wowza
Skylar's
Art.
at all of the farmers markets, but they have a whole team behind the scenes that you don't even see that's making everything happen.
But like their artwork that they produce and offer to our community is like
fabulous.
Top notch.
Exactly.
But I cannot tell you the number of times where I've been at certain events where I'll hear them say how much a piece of artwork costs, and then the customer's reaction is almost like, "Oh wow, that's a lot. Oh, that's pretty high."
Right.
And to me, I know that artwork is worth that or more,
more. Exactly.
Or more. You literally, I could see it going for more if it was in New York City or something.
Yep.
So
exactly.
to me, that was one of the main factors, the main catalyst for this market is because I want our artists.
We want the artists.
Those artists to be able to have a platform where when they say how much their work is worth, nobody says, "Oh my gosh, that's a lot." They say, "Oh, that's all." And
right,
like,
so
they want to appreciate.
So you're going to bring out the best of the best, because one of the reasons why we might not see all of those top artists is because they don't have a good place for it,
or they may not be savvy to put it online or sell it. They just don't know how to get their artwork out of their studios.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that this market will provide them with a platform
and
where
the
they
tools.
can do that. Yep.
Well, I'm so excited for you, and Amber, we could sit and talk for hours, so we really have to wrap it up. Maybe we'll get together next week and do it again, or in a couple weeks. But thank you so much for being on the Kim Sunshine Show. I appreciate it.
Yes.
And I want to ask you one more question. So if you were to give some advice for a brand new business owner, someone just starting out into their own business, what would be that one piece of advice you would give to them?
One piece of advice that I would offer to any brand new business owner, regardless of where you're located, this is not if you're just in Flagler, Palm Coast, or Florida, or anywhere. If you're a brand new business owner, stay true to your mission. Don't let anybody sway you one way or the other. Don't let anybody tell you what they think everybody else wants to see or receive. Have your mission set in your head and in your heart and stay true to it. And if you do that, what you want to receive will come.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much,
My
Amber.
pleasure,
I hope you have an awesome day.
I surely will.
I know you. I don't doubt that.
Thank you for listening to the Kim Sunshine Show. Here's hope your days are sunshine-filled.